Welcome to the solutions video for homework assignment 3.07 number 3. And these are questions 12 and 15 from section 8.3 of the textbook. So question 12, we have to determine the characteristics of this graph. So this is actually a fairly straightforward process. We just have to find our A, B, C, and D. So let me zoom in a little bit to make that easier to read. Our maximum is 3, and our minimum is -7. So 3 plus a -7 is -4, divided by 2, that's -2. So that's our midline. Our midline is a -2. Our amplitude is the difference between -2 and 3, or -2 and -7. So our amplitude is 5. Our period is the point between identical points on the graph. So that is down to here, which appears to be about 0.5. 1.0, 1.5, 2.0 are identical. So if a period is 0.5, then our B term is 2 pi over 0.5, or 2 pi times 2, or 4 pi. Okay. So finally, our phase shift. We could say the phase shift is 0.25. Or we could say the phase shift is 0 and make our amplitude negative. Reason for that, if we reconstruct this graph, so we have a D of -2, we had an A of 5, and a B is 4 pi, and we have to change our domain and range to match what we have in the graph. So that's from 0 to 2.1, and our y-axis was from, say, -8 to +4. So we see this has that upper peak. So we can either go -5, which actually appears to be a little low because it's still a peak at 0. Oh, my apologies, that's because I still have this on cos instead of sine. So yes, making it a -5 was enough to make that correction. The alternative, we can keep this as a +5, but shift it by half a period, and we get the same result. That's question 12. The last question for the homework we've actually covered in class. How can you determine the amplitude, range, and equation of the midline of a given sinusoidal graph? So the range will be the highest value and the lowest value combined. So its y is greater than or equal to the minimum and less than or equal to the maximum. The amplitude will be half the distance between min and max, and the midline will be the sum of those two divided by 2. This concludes the homework for 3.07 number 3.